Hello and welcome to our October wrap up. So I just need to say, I am in a completely different headspace than I was when I came to you for the coffee chat that I posted late. I recorded it late and I think I posted it late. I was on the struggle bus for the first part of October, and after that I came on here, I just shared my truth. I also just really focus on the fact that I get to live this really incredible life, and even though things don't always go our way, doesn't mean it has to be a bad thing. I can still appreciate all the good that's going on in my life. So kind of took that, ran with it a little bit, didn't necessarily focus as much on my goals on my vision board. I mean, I did, but I did something different. And to be completely honest, I am kicking myself that I hadn't thought to do this before. So let's get into it. All right, so I came to you. I was struggling. I admitted that I just basically had done nothing out of all the goals that I had put on my vision board for the month of October. And I mean, I had done some things, but life happened. Took that was the first part of my October, and then the second half of October has been so good. It has been back to being more calm, more chill, more normal, if you will. And through that, over the last week, so tomorrow is Halloween, so we are officially to the very last days of October, but over this last week, I did something that I've never actually done before. Even though, if you've been around for a while, I talk about on my vision board that I make every single month, on the vision board that I make for the year, I always talk about how some of these things aren't actually necessarily goals that I'm working towards, but they're habits. So I made a habit tracker. And it, without being too dramatic, has kind of changed my life. I know that that's ridiculous, but I did it for a week. I just created this cutesy little Halloween themed habit tracker. I put 10 different habits on here that you will find most of these are on my monthly vision board, or they are something that's kind of been taken and broken down into an even smaller habit. And then maybe a couple of things that are on here that actually aren't on my monthly vision board. And what it came down to is I realized through what happened in the first part of October, and I'd shared this some in the mid-month coffee chat, that I've really been chasing more, and I've been chasing wanting to get to the next level, wanting to reach all the goals, and wanting to do all these things, and then beating myself up and my inner critic really coming at me if I was not achieving those things, right? And what I realized through the beginning of October, and it not being a normal month, and it not being all about goal achievement, but instead being about appreciation, was that maybe I'm in a season of not needing or even wanting more after all, but instead maybe I'm in a place where I just want to track some habits and make sure that I'm doing some things on a daily basis that make me feel really, really good, that make me enjoy life, that make me appreciate what it is that I have in this life that I get to live. So that's what I did. So I created a week-long tracker. I put 10 things on here, and like I said, a lot of these things are going to mirror a lot of the things that are on my monthly vision board. So for example, fresh air outdoor walk. So not necessarily having to go on an outdoor walk, but wanting to at least get fresh air because I know how great I feel when I do that. And of course, that's here on my monthly vision board, is to do my outdoor walks. Next one is to read fiction. That's on my monthly vision board. The next one is my Bible and devotional time. That's on my monthly vision board. Floss and wear my retainer. That is something that has not been on my monthly vision board, but that is something that I was starting to really struggle with. I floss regularly, but the retainers are one thing that I have opted out of wearing, and I only wear them before I go to bed. And I had stopped doing that, so I put that one on there. Bed by 9 p.m. So actually last week also, I sat down, put pen to paper, and realized I needed a more solid morning routine. And when I sat down and did that, I actually figured out that I needed to wake up a little bit earlier. And if I was going to be waking up a little bit earlier, I needed to be making sure I was getting to bed at a decent time so that I got enough sleep. Because if we don't get enough sleep, then our mind is a bag of mess. It's just it's not gonna work, right? So I put bed by 9 p.m. on here, okay? Track my nutrition. That's something that I have on my monthly vision board. Do a creative activity. So on here, I have do some fun fall activities, crafts with my niece, that kind of a thing. But specifically what I meant by creative activity is I have a super cute little Halloween puzzle that I have been doing. And then I gave myself a goal to watch like 15 Halloween movies this month, just in honor of Halloween. I feel like a lot of times I'll get to the end of the month and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't watch any of the movies. And so I gave myself a little tracker to do. And so what I've been doing, and I did this last week specifically, I finally got that puzzle out, even though I had been planning on doing it all month, but I hadn't until last week. Got that puzzle out and I started putting the puzzle together while watching a Halloween movie. And so that was like my creative activity. Putting a puzzle together is great brain work. I do some fun apps on my phone too, like Wordle, and through Wordle, there's another one called Connections. Those are other like creative things for my brain. I know how important it is to work my brain as well as, you know, physical activity and all the things. So anyways, creative activity is one thing that I put on there, and it doesn't have to be the puzzle. It could be me creating clip art for TPT, or it could be me just being crafty. You know, I want to make one of those really big blankets, like with the really thick yarn. So it could be anything like that, but I just wanted to put something on there because when I do that, when I flex that creative side, I really enjoy it and I always feel better afterwards. So I want to make sure that that's something that I'm doing. So got that on there. 10 minutes of PD or mindset work. So that PD is always on my monthly vision board. Gallon of water, also on my monthly vision board. And then tidy for 10 minutes. So that's not something that's necessarily on my monthly vision board, but it is something that I have been implementing for a really long time. Actually, for a long time, I've done for 30 minutes, like just clean, and I just pick like one area of my house and I just clean for 30 minutes. But the tidy for 10 was something that I was like, you know what, I want to put that on there and make sure that I'm at least doing that, even if that's just like dusting really quick or sweeping the floors really quick or whatever that might be. So, like I said, not to be dramatic, but doing this for a week was very eye-opening. You can see, like, I just finished this as of yesterday. So there are places in here where I definitely like crushed it. Mainly Monday through Thursday last week, crushed nearly everything on here, okay? Then when it got to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a lot of people tend to crush it during the week. And I know I'm somebody like this, especially when it came to my health routine, my health journey, way back when I started it to be consistent over 6 years ago. I used to crush it during the week and then I would fall off during the weekend. And I help women in my wellness community every single day who struggle with that same thing. And I noticed that was something that I was also finding as I filled this out. And I wouldn't have known that had I not filled this out. So this is obviously just one weekend, but it was very eye-opening and something that I was able to look and be like, you know what? Some of these things make sense because I didn't feel as fulfilled or excited or productive at the end of the day on Friday, Saturday, or even Sunday. And when I looked on here, I'm like, well, I didn't do my creative activity on some of those days. I didn't do my Bible and devotional time. I didn't do my PD or mindset work. I didn't get outside with fresh air. And so it was so interesting to see that on the days where I didn't feel as good mindset wise are also the same days that I wasn't doing some of these habits. And that is not a coincidence. It makes sense why I felt amazing last week during those first 4 days of crushing all of these and then all of a sudden didn't. And those were the factors that affected it. So with that being said, there is going to be more to come with that and I will share more about that. But I'm curious, have you ever followed a habit tracker? Because I feel like with how much I love organization and planning and all of these things, how have I never used one of these before, right? So it felt really good to finally do that. Again, I want to point out that in the event that you're like, oh my gosh, 10, that's a lot. But a lot of these things are things that I'm already doing. I just want to hold myself accountable to actually making sure that I'm doing, or they're just things that the woman that I want to be, the human being that I want to be in this life is doing these things. And in order to be I'm changing this up a little bit. I actually saw this in a mindset video that I was doing through my subscription that I have with my job. And it was, instead of being your best self, she challenges you to be your favorite self. Because best self essentially is setting you up for failure because you're never going to be the best. You're never going to be the best at anything, right? You're never going to be the top, the best. There's always going to be somebody that's going to come along and going to be more skilled or know more or this or that. So if you're your best self, you're essentially setting yourself up for failure in a sense because you can never be the best, right? But if you could be your favorite self, you can do that. You could achieve that right now, right here, right now, you could achieve that. And so that's kind of what I'm focusing on is these habits help me be my favorite self. And I love that so much being my favorite self makes me appreciate things about me. It makes me be grateful for things that I'm doing, the life that I have, all of that. Whereas if I'm chasing best, I'm constantly looking for more. And as I started talking about at the beginning of this video, and as I talked about in the mid-month coffee chat, I don't want to chase more anymore. I want to be really thankful for what I have, because I truly believe if I can come from a place of gratitude in the life that I have today, that's an incredible foundation to build upon as I'm working towards achieving more goals, right? Like, doesn't that just make sense? And I feel silly that I haven't thought of it in that way before. But instead of coming from a place of needing and wanting and constantly needing more, if I can come from a place of like, I love what I have and I want to make sure that I continue to show up as the person who's going to keep that and continue to build upon it, I just feel like I could be so much more successful. And what better time than to like kind of focus on these things right now as I'm ending one year and getting ready to start another, when most people are excited about setting new goals and all of that, myself included. I love a new year. I love setting new goals, all the things. Y'all know that if you've been around for a while. So this has been so cool. So stay tuned, because there's going to be more to come with that I'm going to be sharing with you. But this is only our October wrap up. This is nothing more than that. Stay tuned for the November plan with me and something else that I've got up my sleeve and I'm really excited for, and I hope that you will be excited for too. So that's what I've got for you. As I showed you, the majority of the habits that are on my habit tracker were also on my monthly vision board. And so really, I did make some progress with that. I know when I checked in with you in the middle of October, it was like, but I am subbing. And I feel like by doing this habit tracker and really understanding a little bit more about me, myself, and what helps me versus what kind of makes me not feel as good or feel as excited and struggle more, is going to help me continue to reach these goals that I still am passionate about reaching, but reaching from a place of gratitude versus a place of need, right? So I hope that makes sense. I would love to know how your October went. Did you crush your goals? Have you ever used a habit tracker? I swear, I feel like I have been missing out. Like, why have I never used a habit tracker before? I don't know. But thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to have wrapped up this month in this way. It has been all over the place this month as far as where I have been with life goals, everything. And so it just feels really good to be ending on such a high note and ready to go into the month of November feeling really clear on where I'm headed, what I'm trying to achieve, and where we're going. So I cannot wait to talk to you in the next video. We will see you next time. See ya.